Callum Jones, candidate number 4489. Okay, Callum, you've just been watching the cricketers in the net, and which student did you identify?
I decided to identify Alex, who was wearing a striped top, bowling in the net closest to me.
Okay, right, well, what we're going to do now then is you're going to talk me through all his strengths, all his weaknesses in relation to the different components. You want to then prioritise the weakness and produce your action plan, applying your theory throughout.
Okay.
Okay, ready to go?
Yeah.
Yeah, good luck.
One of his weaknesses identified was that at his point of release in his delivery stride, his arm was not straight. This is a weakness because it affects the consistency of the placement of the balls, because when your arm's not straight, you don't have much control in where the ball's going to land. Perhaps the fact that his arm's not straight suggests that he's got poor flexibility about the shoulder joint. And flexibility as a kind of definition, dynamic flexibility, is the ability to perform a physical activity either normal or rapid speed. So the physical activity is cricket, and he's performing at a fairly rapid speed in a bowling action. And like some of the factors that affect the flexibility, thing like age, he's quite young performer, so he should be flexible. The shape of the joint and the type of joint, like the type of joint is ball and socket, which has a large range of movements. So the fact that he's not flexible is really quite a weakness, and that needs to be identified and looked at. However, I thought a strength of his bowling action was that in his delivery stride, when he got to the crease, his foot positioning was a strength because it was nice and straight. His foot was nice and parallel, not in line with the stumps. It wasn't an angle, which is really good because that's kind of what a coach would teach you to do, having your foot nice and straight. The reason behind it is because you used to have your foot at an angle, and you used to get a lot of old bowlers with problems with osteoporosis in the knees, a lot of reduction in bone density, causing a lot of reducing the length of the careers. So by having that leg nice and straight, he's able to, he should be able to bowl for longer without feeling less pain, and reduce the chances of getting osteoporosis. I thought that tactically he was quite weak because the batsman at the other end was quite strong off his legs. He was playing some nice pull shots and flicks off his legs, and Alex decided to continually bowl that leg stump line when he should have really adjusted to bowl more off stump or middle stump. And when he went round the wicket, changed from over to round the wicket, which makes it even easier for a leg side player because you're bowling it at the angle across, so he can easily pick it off his legs, and it's conceding runs for his team. However, fitness-wise, I thought a strength of his was that although I didn't see too much, he showed to me some good signs of cardiovascular endurance because he didn't seem to be tired, he was continually running in. And that good cardiovascular endurance will probably have come through previous aerobic training and his body having a high ability to transport oxygen around the body, which has come from his high levels of haemoglobin still in his red blood cells and an efficient vascular shunt mechanism, so we can pump that oxygen around and keep working for a long period of time. I thought one of his weaknesses was that his run-up. During your run-up, you should be nice, smooth, straight, rhythmical, with a graduate build-up of speed. However, his speed was kind of non-existent. Wasn't really any changes in build-up and pace. It was all kind of seemed quite rushed. So I think maybe a weakness is his speed, which is contributing to his main weakness, which is his run-up. The run-up, when you join your run-up, the predominant energy system is your ATP-PC energy system, because the exercise is of high intensity for a short duration of time, and the ATP-PC system is a couple reaction which happens in muscle sarcoplasm and produces one ATP. Also, although they were bowling in the nets in a game situation, and I suppose in the nets as well, when you're at the end of your run-up, in terms of your information processing system, there's a lot of input to take into account. You've got the batsman at the other end, You've got, in a game you have a wicket keeper, you've got the fielders in the game. Here you've got the nets, you've got the surface to take into account. It's quite bouncy in the nets, you've got to take all that into account. So it's quite a lot to take into consideration. So really, in order to control this, Alex would have to be at an optimum level of arousal, which is different for everybody. But once he's found that optimum level of arousal, he needs to stay there, because that therefore allows selective attention to occur productively. So he doesn't miss relevant information he doesn't miss relevant information or pick up irrelevant information, and that's going to help his performance. Also, in the net situation where the bowlers we saw, Alex particularly, that round arm action he was bowling, if we look back to the history of cricket, where cricket started, at Hambledon, bat and ball in, where players played from numerous rears on broad halfpenny down, and then when the MCC was formed and took the players, Hambledon players to come and coach their team, and then as the MCC developed, cricket was the first game with codified rules, and in 1835 the round arm bowling action was legalised, and that's got a direct link to today. What we saw Alex bowling in the nets, he was bowling that round arm action. So going back to the strengths and weaknesses, my main weakness I've decided to focus on is Alex's run-up. So I set up an action plan to hopefully improve that run-up. The aim is to get a nice, smooth, rhythmical run-up, because that's what coaching points of run-up should be. Gradual build-up of speed, straight line, nice and smooth, rhythmical, good arm pumping action, and also you should really feel in control at all times. You shouldn't feel as if you're rushing. So the action plan would last for 6 weeks, some with a varied intensity of one to 3 times a week, 20-minute sessions. As a pre-test, I'd set up a stump 22 yards away, get like a proper wicket. I'd give him 12 balls and 2 overs, and I'd say, go and mark your run up as if you were in the game, and just bowl 12 balls, and we'll get a mark out of 12 for every time he hits the stumps. There's no batsman at the other end. So I've got that mark there, that quantitative mark. And then for the first week of training, I just do one session, one 20-minute session in that first week. Take him into the nets, set up the stumps, no batsman. I'd give him 4 overs, so 6 balls, with a rest in between. So that's a type of interval training, so in that rest he can resynthesize ATP stores, and also he can perhaps use mental rehearsal, so if something went wrong in that first over, he's got time to mentally rehearse what he's going to do in the next one. And during that first week, those first 4 overs, I'll use video analysis. So I'll stand to the other end on video of him bowling. So then after the session, he can sit down and watch the video, so I can show him actually how his run-up is not matching the coaching points, so he can see himself where he's going wrong. And then in the second week, I progress it further, so instead of training 1 time a week, I increase that to 2. Again, in the net, set up 22-yard stumps, go and mark your run-up at. But I'd set up some cones, some parallel cones in line, just outside the off stump, starting from the crease all the way back to his run-up. So he's got almost like a tunnel to run through. The aim of that is that it all stays nice and straight, there's no change in movement. However, I won't introduce a batsman, I'll keep just some stumps to aim at, because I'll tell him not to worry about the end result. All I want to do at the moment is like build up a kinesthetic feel of how it feels running straight, so he doesn't have to worry about what happens at the other end. So that's the second week. For the third week, I'd completely vary it by the run-up. A factor which contributes to it is speed. So for that third week, I'd focus on improving his speed. And also by doing that, you're varying, so you're keeping him excited, he's not getting boring just bowling the nets. So I'd set up some shuttle runs, 2 sessions in that third week. So be some shuttle runs where 1 at 5 metres, 1 at 10, 1 at 20, 1 at 30. And like a bit of interval training, so we'd run that, have a rest for 2 minutes and run it again for a full 20 minutes. Just to work on his speed, so he's quicker, so he's getting more momentum in that run-up. So that's the third week. Fourth week, I go take him back into the nets. Still have the cones set up, so he's got something to run through, something to focus on. However, this time I'll introduce a batsman on the end, so he's got to start thinking about where he's putting the ball, so he can't just run up and throw the ball down. He's got to think about where he's putting the ball. And I'd instead of training 2 times a week, I'd increase it to 3 times a week, so I'm progressing further. Then in the 5th week, I've removed the cones, so he's not got anything to rely on. He's got a build. Hopefully by that time he's got the kinesthetic awareness of the space he's got around him. He's got a batsman at the end, so it's kind of similar to a game. And in this 5th week, I've video him again, so we've got a comparison of what he was like on that first week on my video, so we can see actually the changes in his run, if there's anything, if he's changed at all. Again, training 3 times a week. Then on the 6th and final week, I take him outside, away from the nets, into a proper pitch, 7-a-side game. I'd have Alex bowling in the game, and again, there's no cones or anything. It's just as if it was a normal game, because there's a difference bowling in the nets and bowling on a pitch. He's got a different type of pitch, so there's different things you've got to take into account. So that's my final week. Also, in that final week, when you've taken him outside into the game, if you look at Cottrell's evaluation apprehension theory, he states that arousal is only increased when the performer perceives someone's judging them. So when Alex is bowling in that game situation, he'll be believing that myself as a coach and all the players will be judging him. So he's likely to be experiencing higher arousal, and when arousal is increased, the dominant response occurs, and your dominant response will either be good and bad depending on the type of performer, their ability. So hopefully after the end of his 6 weeks training programme, Alex's dominant response should be good. He should have a nice smooth run, so that high arousal by the presence of others evaluating him shouldn't have an effect on what happens to him. Alex looks like a type of bowler who he's obviously developed through a kind of club setup, because he knows what he's doing. I place him at the moment in the associative phase of learning, because he's still trying to eliminate mistakes, as we've picked up on, but he's not quite as bad as a cognitive phase learner, because he's got some fluency to his action. So as far as cricket as a sport is concerned, in this country at the moment, cricket is a thriving sport in this country with large media coverage. Test matches get a lot. 2020 gets a lot of publicity, but not just that. There's a lot of opportunity for young kids, like the governing body ECB set up schemes such as Chance to Shine, so we go into schools, and even kids as young as 4 or 5 are getting a chance to be involved in cricket, which perhaps explains why we're doing so well as a country in the game at the moment. And that's it.
Okay. If you could come back, have you got any other possible strengths in this bowling action there?
I think.
Talk to us about his delivery and his foot position being good. Anything else?
Did I say the cardiovascular endurance?
Yeah, he talked about the fitness. Any other on the skills or the tactics?
Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot about that. But the strength of his bowling was his follow through. So after he's bowled the ball, his delivery stride, his follow through was a strength because it almost matched the coaching points. Because a follow through should be a way of finishing off your momentum, so it shouldn't be a sudden stop. It should be a way of following through, nice and straight, and then suddenly tailing off the wicket, so you're not running onto the danger area. And Alex was doing that well, so he wasn't stopping, causing any stress to any joints. He was running straight on and tailing away from a wicket at the end. That was the strength.
Yeah. Okay. Is that everything?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sure. Well done.